You are not weak, and you are not slow. You were systematically trained from childhood to behave in ways that make you predictable, compliant, and exceptionally easy to manage. You were taught that safety lies in complete visibility, prompting you to hand over the keys to your internal world without resistance. Right now, you are giving the people around you far too much behavioral data, too much emotional reaction, too much unprompted honesty, and entirely too much visibility into your daily internal landscape. Every person in your environment is quietly keeping a meticulous ledger on you, tracking your anger, your softness, your personal doubts, and your distinct vulnerabilities. People rarely provoke you strictly to win a temporary argument. They do it to map your psychological limits. The exact moment you fire back defensively, you hand them the definitive blueprint to your mind. Classical strategist Niccolo Machiavelli warned that a feared individual lives a significantly safer life than a loved one. True safety is achieved when you completely deny the outside world unmonitored access to your mind, creating an armor that cannot be pierced by casual observation. The first behavior that fundamentally terrifies a room is a total lack of emotional reaction when explicitly baited. Most individuals are absolute slaves to their internal chemical surges. Someone pushes an insecurity and they instantly crumble. If you instead look directly at an aggressor with a perfectly frozen, unbothered facial expression, the entire power dynamic flips instantly. Your complete internal neutrality operates as a highly clinical psychological mirror, instantly highlighting an instigator's chaotic lack of self-control. Silence is not passive surrender. It is an aggressive, calculated defense mechanism. It forces the antagonist to spiral into deep panic under the sudden weight of their own unspent anxiety. The second behavior that commands immediate authority is the deliberate practice of speaking significantly less than necessary, because words operate as a highly vulnerable personal currency. When you deliberately withhold your spoken commentary, you force the individuals around you to aggressively fill the empty conversational spaces. To ease their own discomfort, they will instinctively flood the silence with their own projections, assumptions, and deepest personal insecurities. You effectively allow them to completely reveal their internal terrain while keeping yours entirely hidden. A quiet individual who speaks rarely ensures that every single sentence they choose to drop carries an immense, unyielding structural mass. If your spoken words do not actively improve your immediate strategic position, your absolute silence will. The third behavioral pattern that completely unbalances an environment is your absolute willingness to walk away without offering a single word of closure. When someone treats you with disrespect, you do not engage in a loud, dramatic debate. You simply leave. By completely disappearing without explanation, you force the offending party to sit entirely alone with their guilt and frantic second-guessing, demonstrating zero desperate attachment to their company. The fourth behavior involves maintaining an absolute, icy composure when subject to intense external pressure or the heavy weight of staring eyes. A crisis instantly reveals who is internally engineered for absolute leadership and who is fundamentally hardwired to follow. True composure under fire relies on strict physical disciplines. First, you must completely suppress the instinctual micro-reactions that signal internal fear. Second, you hold unbroken eye contact without looking down. Third, you practice deliberate, unhurried speech patterns that refuse to match the frantic speed of the crisis. Finally, you keep your next strategic move entirely hidden. The fifth behavior that forces the world to respect you is a complete, uncompromising independence from external approval. If your personal confidence is built entirely on the applause of outside observers, their eventual rejection will easily destroy your foundation. But when your worth is derived strictly from an internal alignment with your own standards, you become impossible to manipulate and highly unpredictable. Unpredictable individuals possess immense leverage. The sixth behavior is the practice of setting highly rigid personal boundaries instantly, cleanly, and without offering a softening apology. Every relationship will eventually feature a calculated test designed to see exactly what you will tolerate. Weak individuals ignore these microaggressions to maintain harmony. The second someone attempts to cross an established line, a powerful individual cuts the behavior down to the root without hesitation. By delivering a calm, low-tone correction, you force them to confront their own intentions. Difficult people and professional manipulators absolutely despise clean boundaries because it completely shatters their compliance mechanisms. The seventh and final behavioral standard is your absolute willingness to permanently cut off anyone who threatens your internal peace. Your mind is an exceptionally expensive asset. The exact second an individual proves to be a persistent drain, you must revoke their access entirely without an explanation, without a dramatic farewell, and without ever looking back.